Good morning. Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Congregation at White Plains. Welcome to a home for liberal religion. Welcome to a community where we can explore together our dreams and possibilities. We gather in the light of four truths. It's a blessing you were born. It matters what you do. Your experience of the divine is true. And an important reminder, you don't have to go it alone. Those watching on Zoom can find an order of service on our website, CUUCWP.org. For those here in person, if you have not already done so, please silence your phones. If you're visiting for the first time online this morning, please take a moment to click the link in the chat and fill out the visitor form and let us know how you'd like to be connected. If you're new and visiting in person, we invite you to stop by the welcome table and say hello. Later in the service, we will share the joys and sorrows of our individual lives. For those here in person, please take a moment to add yours to the book in the back of the sanctuary. For those on Zoom, please type yours in the chat, starting with the word joy or sorrow, so we know you'll want it to be read out loud.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Danielle Lindstrom. My pronouns are she, hers, and it is good. It is good to be together. Our opening words this morning by Aaron Hansen. There is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? What if I fall? But oh, my darling, what if you fly?
As part of our sacred time together, we light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. Please join in the chalice lighting by reading the response in your order of service. We invite those online to read along as you light your own chalice at home. The poet Langston Hughes has written, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." May this chalice
I have a double reinforcement for the bass line. Good morning. Please join in body and spirit for our opening hymn in the great hymnal, numbers 368, Now Let Us Sing. And I thank my reinforcements.
Good morning. I'm over here this morning. We're doing the story over here where the children are. And you'll have the slides up front. Would you like to come join me over here? Let's see, who's got the coloring pictures? The coloring sheets. We have special coloring sheets today for our story. You ready? Okay. That looks so nice. That's it right there. And Madeline's dad has the books too, so you don't have to look up there. You can see the pictures right here. Okay? All right, our story this morning is Humpty Dumpty After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again. Have you ever had an accident and then kind of been scared to do that thing again? Yeah? I had that with my attic stairs. After I fell down the stairs, I didn't want to go back up. All right. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know, it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I love being close to the birds. Then one day, I fell. I'm sort of famous for that. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together again. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. I walked past the wall every day and would think about climbing that ladder again. I really missed the birds and being high above the city. But I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches. But day after day, I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. I almost walked away again. But then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things that I'd miss, and I decided I was going to climb that wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it, but I was terrified. I didn't look up, I didn't look down, I just kept climbing, one step at a time, until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Hopefully you'll remember me as the egg who got back up and learned how to fly. And that is our story. I invite the children and youth and teachers to go to classes now as we sing This Joy.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world didn't give it away.
In our faith tradition, the act of giving is not just about financial support. It is a tangible expression of our commitment to the principles of compassion, justice, and service. The generosity we show our neighbors is an important demonstration of the work we do as Unitarian Universalists. Every contribution, no matter how large or small, is a testament to our collective dedication to creating a more equitable and compassionate world. For September, we share the plate with the Interfaith Council of New Americans Westchester, ICNAW, a coalition of CUUC and other local congregations that welcomes and resettles people who have been forced to flee their home countries. We are grateful to support their good works. Thank you for your kindness, your compassion, and your commitment to making CUUC and the world a better place. Your support truly makes a difference.
Good morning. Flying, falling, tumbling out there is Voyager 2, which launched in 1978 when Jimmy Carter was president. On it is a golden disc which contains sounds of planet Earth, in case at some point, maybe after we're long gone, maybe after our own sun is extinguished, some other life form might discover it and want to know about us. And on that golden disc is the music of the composer whose music we're about to play for you, Johann Sebastian Bach.
part of being in community is sharing our lives with one another, sharing our joys, our sorrows, a piece of our heart. Each week, if you are joining us online, you are invited to share your joy or your sorrow in the chat to be read aloud during this time, this moment in our service. If you're joining us here in person, you're invited to the back of the sanctuary, to that little green table where you can light a candle, write down your joy or sorrow, indicate if you would like someone to check in with you, to have a conversation about what you shared, or if you would like it read aloud on Sunday morning. This is just one of the many ways we share our lives with each other throughout the week. We hold this sacred time in our co-created space. It takes all of us to hold this space for and with one another, to feel connection, to feel care, to feel love. Will you join me in a breath? In this spirit of prayer and meditation, Spirit of life, God of love, mysterious human connection, may we begin in gratitude. Gratitude for this space, for these people surrounding us, those folks joining us online, connection so strong we can feel it even when we are far apart. We gather to share joys, concerns, sorrows, our lives with one another, to practice what we so often forget, that we don't hold our lives alone. We lift into this larger love the people in our world who are suffering the effects of war and hunger, injustice, natural disaster. We lift them in love now, listening always for the calls to action underneath. We lift into this love the joys and the sorrows that remain on our hearts this morning, that remain on the hearts of our beloveds joining online. We hold this space for hope, for possibility, for warmth, for wisdom, for connection. We are all in this together, this interdependent web of all existence brought together by hope, held together by love. Will you join me in a time of shared quiet, to pray, to meditate, or to dream?
Guardian of the gates, keeper of the black heart, circumference and center of radiant all, unlock the spinning portal, join our rights. Show us the rush of the forces of life. Let us open together. Let us thrive. Touch our spirits, touch our souls. May we fill with abundant growth. May we have a fearless heart full of fear. May we vision the worlds as whole. May we bring the worlds to love. Guardian of the gates, welcome. This is an invocation to the black heart of innocence from the fairy tradition of paganism. I'm Eileen Mashal. My pronouns are she, they. I've been part of the CUUC community for about 5 years and came here originally to appreciate these outdoor grounds, our living sanctuary. For those who were here in early August, Joe Gonzalez gave a great Q&A sermon covering a lot of the basics of paganism. Similar to other religions like Christianity or Judaism, paganism is an umbrella under which there are many separate denominations or traditions. My personal spiritual roots, before I came to Unitarian Universalism, and still today, are in an earth-based, pagan, witchcraft tradition called reclaiming, which is particularly organic, ecstatic, and social justice oriented. Reclaiming has ties, close ties, with another, even more mystical pagan tradition called fairy, which is the source of my understanding of the concept of the black heart of innocence. When Reverend Danielle talked about her vision for today's worship and the idea of falling or flying, I immediately felt that it resonated so much with the central concept that I had been taught about the black heart of innocence, which is both a metaphysical concept and a state of being in which one is fully connected with one's own center, having a fearless heart full of fear. The concept of the black heart of innocence is when we can hold within ourselves the power of wildness, of truth without shame. It is supple, strong, clean, innocent, and wise. It is the state of being when we just know in our souls that we are connecting both to the tiniest particles and to the vast multiverse of the galaxies. It is an ecstatic state in which we are in communication with the earth. Life force pumps through our bodies. We are fully alive and connected to all that lives around us. While we can invoke, invite, and aspire to this sense of pulsing aliveness and interconnectivity, part of the mystery is that one can't actually will this state into being. Instead, we do our work. We practice our faith, we engage in our lives, and we breathe. Let's all take a deep breath together right now. Guardians of the gate, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your gifts of spirit, of fearlessness, of love. May I see clearly and learn without shame. May you always rest within me. Blessed be.
Has anyone ever done anything perfectly? Like truly 100% perfectly, as in no one has done a thing better. It will never be done better ever in the history, right? Won't ever exist. Does anybody? So just raise your hand if you've been that perfect. No one. Those joining us online, nobody here is raising their hand. Wow, can I give myself a break then? I will say that seeing no one is claiming perfection, I feel better. Now another question. Who has worked really hard for something? Who has tried and learned and tried again? Maybe even getting to that space of excellence at something. Really proficient, maybe even an expert. Yeah? Let's just do a big hand raise. All of us have worked and tried really hard. One more. How many folks have fell a few times? How many folks? And look around. Almost all hands are raised. We have all fallen, had ups and downs, failed and let go, which is brave, or failed and tried again, which is brave. Researcher and professor Brene Brown offers us this, quote, "It may seem counterintuitive, but one of the biggest barriers to working toward mastery is perfectionism." In their leadership research, they have learned that achieving mastery requires curiosity and reviewing mistakes as opportunities for learning. Or she puts it another way, healthy striving to be our best, right, is internally driven. Perfectionism is driven by a simple but potentially all-consuming question: what will people think of me? Have we asked ourselves that before? What will people think of me? Remember my story from last week? The member who came to me and said, with my big ol' energy, she wasn't sure if she could come to me when her sister died. She wasn't sure if I could be with her in those moments when her heart was broken or breaking. After she left, part of my feeling was that, see, that's what they really think of me. What everyone must think of me. I will never be the minister I hoped I would be. I have let someone down. I have failed completely. This is it. And I needed time there. But then that practice of being curious, to process, being able to work with people we trust, right? To develop a practice, a skill, to breathe, to stay present, to match the moment, always imperfectly, not at a mastery level, but something I know that I am working on and will fail sometimes, and I'm still learning, and to see that failure is sometimes an invitation to see something new, an invitation to see something in a different way, an invitation to go deeper, though maybe painful. How many of us, right? Many of us will know Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. The rhyme about the egg that fell and could not be fixed. From our story this morning, he learned that accidents happen. He wondered what people, what we, right? We who, many of us know that rhyme from memory, what we thought of him. He took time to heal as best he could and then got curious. How could he get back to doing something he loved? Our theme for the month of September is embracing possibility. And it has a feeling of inherent optimism, right? Right? Of course, we are only embracing possibilities to fly. Of course, we are only embracing the possibility that we are going to succeed. Of course, we're only embracing the possibility that we will excel. Why would we? Oh no. Is she asking us to embrace the possibility that we could fail? Ugh. Ugh. Why would we embrace the possibility that we could fail? Because we already are. Activist, storyteller, and author Adrienne Marie Brown puts it this way: people say, but sometimes I fail. And she offers, I'm like, no, we are all failing all the time. But the framework we have on it determines whether it's a waste of our lives or a component to help us learn. She continues, I see a lot of social justice groups that constantly feel like they're failing, are behind the curve. And it's like we're actually up against insurmountable odds. We have to pull off miracles if we're going to save human life on this planet at this point. So we could feel like failures all the time. But that's not going to save our lives. We have to keep learning from everything we're doing, how to keep improving, how to keep growing. Ends her quote. We are all failing all the time, but the framework we have on it determines whether it's a waste or a component to help us learn. Now, I don't think that makes failing feel any better. Right? Like, it doesn't, right? You're like, okay, we hear you, but like, ow, right? But I don't think that's the goal. It hurts, right? It sucks to fail at something we really wanted, right? It hurts to make that mistake, to miss that moment, to fall. That hurts. And we have to make the space to feel that, lest we become reactionary. We have to have space to be afraid, to know that accidents can happen. We have to tend to our fearless heart that is full of fear. It is possible to fly, and it is possible to fall. So then we welcome back our old friend, the both and. Right? Rarely in life are things truly either or. Rarely is there this neat binary. Rather, we live in the both and the and. We can embrace the possibility of success and greatness and embrace the possibility that is failure. If we cannot embrace the possibility of failure, then the moves that we make, the decisions we make, they stay safe. They stay small. They stay completely possible, and maybe even with a hint of perfectionism, if we can embrace both. Or at least say that yes, we can fail and we will fail, that it's always a possibility, but that doesn't mean we are failures. The difference? It might mean rather that it's time for a shift. It might mean it's time to find new partners. It might mean that it is time to rest before trying something new. Instead, we embrace failure because the scope of our dreams are so big, we won't get it right the first time, right? We embrace failure because the vastness of our vision, our understanding of welcome, is so massive, we don't know how to do it right away. Right? And then in this framework, we can say, we might as well try. We can try. We know it might feel like failing sometimes, but with that comes learning, comes growth. And from that we learn, and we get closer and closer and closer and closer until what seems impossible might just maybe become tomorrow. Maybe. Then this, a congregation with shared values and understanding, shared mission and vision, this can become a place to try. A place to learn and try and fail and try again, that here we have the tape, here we have the glue, the meals, the friendships, the music, the hope, whatever it is to put one another back together again. Maybe we all look a bit like CUUC, the Japanese tradition of fixing broken pottery with gold. And we see that for one another, in one another, with one another. Perfectionism risks equating what we produce with our self-worth. Risks only thinking about small mistakes rather than larger accomplishments. I will say that's where mine is. Holding small mistakes rather than larger accomplishments. Hearing negative feedback and not hearing the positive. Keeping ideas and actions small. That's what perfectionism can do. Some ways to practice undoing perfectionism, of asking that voice that we have that whispers, what will people think of me? A practice to get that voice to be quiet for a little while. This coming from Public Allies, which is a national movement committed to advancing social justice and equity by engaging and activating leadership capacities of everyone. That is their work. Everyone can be a leader so long as we meet them where they are and support them through it. They explain that perfectionism is a characteristic of white supremacy culture, holds everyone's work to an unreasonable standard, those standards set by those with the most privilege. They offered to undo some of the pressure of perfectionism, these practices. Focus on the positives as well as the areas for improvement. Give consistent appreciation for everyday efforts. I love that one. Give consistent appreciation for everyday efforts rather than only saying thank you when the Herculean task that is setting up for our social justice and community fair. Thank you, Chris. But saying thank you for those small efforts too. Ooh, and dear ones, offer patience. Patience for mistakes and growing pains. Are we falling or are we flying? Yes. Yes to both, sometimes at the same time, but that's not really the question. I share again these opening words. There is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? But oh, my darling, what if you fly? There is freedom waiting for you. May our dreams be big enough that sometimes it feels like falling, and rather than letting that break us apart, may we find this space for opportunity. May we learn that sometimes the bravest thing we can say is no, not right now. Embracing possibility doesn't mean only the good. It means embracing the whole mess, the whole beautiful, imperfect, because we all agreed, right? Yeah? Whole, beautiful, imperfect, lovely, and loving mess. Knowing that accidents happen, but there is freedom waiting for you, freedom waiting for all of us. It's how we tell the story, how we frame our stories with a chance to reimagine our ending rather than that egg that fell. We can remember him as the egg that got back up and learned to fly. So maybe then the good news, as our framework can be, we are failing all the time, we are learning all the time, we are becoming all the time. Not defined by what will people think, not defined by what we produce is a sign of our self-worth. Right? We are becoming all the time. Instead, it's telling our complete story, the mistakes, the failure, the opportunities. It's the story we tell about taking care of ourselves and each other, and if we want to, when we're ready. It's the story about getting up and trying again. Oh, fearless heart, full of fear. What if? What if you fly? Amen. And blessed be. I invite you to rise in body and spirit. Join in singing hymn 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life. benediction, I invite you to think about this morning, our morning together. What is something you will take from our time? Perhaps it was the choir singing so beautifully. Just blessing us with their voices. Thank you, choir. The music, Judy and Adam. Perhaps it was the artwork from our story. Maybe it's feeling the energy of the person sitting close to you. Feeling the energy of the service. If you're joining us online, I know you feel it too. Maybe it's feeling that. I will share mine. The moment that I'm carrying with me is when I asked if anyone was perfect and nobody raised their hands. So maybe when that little voice shows up and says, "Ooh, you did a typo in the newsletter, you are," ooh, right? Those moments when that little voice, I can think back to this time together when we all agreed that none of us is perfect. I'm gonna hold that. Maybe it's hearing what is on the hearts of our beloveds in our sharing of joys and sorrows. Maybe it's getting to spend some time on these incredible sacred grounds. Whatever that moment is, I invite you to hold it close. Let it nourish you. Let it fill you up. For our worship time is almost over, and then it is our service that begins. As my minister always says, "Go now in peace and know that you are loved."
Please join us in the chalice extinguishing by reading the words in your order of service. We invite those online to read along as you extinguish your own chalice at home. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the endless possibilities of our dreams. Moving forward from this space, may we continue to nurture our spiritual growth. May we have the courage to travel along the winding pathway to a new tomorrow. Thank you for being with us today. We invite everyone to stay after service for the Life of the Congregation and Social Justice Fair in Fellowship Hall, where you can learn about opportunities to deepen your involvement in the congregation and find out more about our social justice teams. Also, there's a sympathy card for Steve Miller, whose father passed away, which you can sign as you're leaving the sanctuary or at the fair. Our weekly e-communitarian, RE newsletter, and printed weekly announcement handout offer many details of activities here at CUUC. Take a moment to discover all of the interesting offerings awaiting you within our community. It has been a gift to be together today. After we enjoy our parting music, please spend a few minutes talking with someone you don't know. Escort each other to the fair in Fellowship Hall, and may we all know the blessings of friendship.